Today, we're very privileged to welcome a panel of distinguished speakers. They represent really very diverse background and also different regions. So they will be sharing their insights and perspectives on innovation and the future of our pharma industry. So welcome to the panel, our first speaker, Anna Locatelli. So Anna's set head of AstraZeneca Singapore. During Anna's 30 years of experience globally, she has held various leadership roles. And in her current role, she's leading the establishment of Astra's end-to-end ADC manufacturing site. And this pioneering project represents Astra's first manufacturing investment in Singapore. And this is a 1.5 billion US dollar facility slated for operational readiness for 2022. Welcome, Anna. Okay. So next we have Dr. Jun Hu, Vice President, Head of Client Enabling Center of Excellence, and Head of Singapore Site Management, WuXi XDC Singapore. In his role, Dr. Hu leads a diversified team covering CMC, project management, and business development. He's also overseeing the construction of WuXi's XDC's new facility in Singapore. Dr. Hu has over 13 years of comprehensive experiences in process development and GMP manufacturing, CMC management, and business development as well. Sitting next to Dr. Hu is Georg Singewald. No, not really next to him, yeah, but yeah, you want to keep some distance. And this is a habit from the COVID-19. Georg is Senior VP, Global Head of Quality and Compliance, Roche, and he's also on the international board for ISPE. Thank you for your contribution. Georg's experience spans operations, quality, engineering, and supply chain globally. So fun fact, he also worked and lived in Singapore, and we were colleagues back then. During his time at Novartis, of course, so he's a strong advocate for sustainable performance, best achieved through a modern quality management system, leveraging in-depth data and digital technologies and integrated operational excellence practices to enable proactive, prompt, and effective responses. So last but not least, Dr. Ling Wu. He's president and co-founder of ChemT Biotechnology Singapore. ChemT is a tech bio company that leverages AI to design cellular drugs for precise and tunable cellular control. Ling brings over 10 years experience in biopharma research. He previously served as a principal investigator leading the cell and gene therapy research at Beijing. Welcome to the panel. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. So by the way, you don't see the QR code, but you can download the ISPE Singapore Conference app, and there is a live Q&A for this session, and whatever questions you have, please. Oh, there is. Yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't see it. Okay, good to go. So let me ask this opening question to all the panelists, right? Just from your perspective, what are the most impactful innovations shaping the pharmaceutical industry today, and how do they ultimately serve the patients? Maybe you can give some examples or innovation initiatives from your organization. Can we please start from Anna? Thank you.
Sure, and good morning, everybody. Nice to see all of you and just to see some familiar faces in the audience, yeah. I think the most impactful, that is impacting more pharmaceuticals, is basically medical science. I think the discovery in the immune system in the last 10 years basically is more than it has happened before. Yeah, there are neglected diseases, rare diseases. Yeah, and I think that basically has the burning platform for the pharmaceutical science, basically to develop new therapies and basically look into different things of doing things. The other thing that is shaping pharmaceuticals is the speed of clinical trials. Yeah, if I remember in the past, it takes ages to recruit patients and to do clinical trials. You can do that now worldwide at the same time, basically doing clinical trials. So that for me basically creates another driving force behind how pharmaceutical science or pharmaceutical companies needs to shape into the future. And the other one is access to medicines. Yeah, we still need to make it in an affordable manner to be sure that everybody has access to it. So it's just basically medical science, the clinical trials, and affordability are very huge driving forces behind the innovation in pharmaceuticals.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much. Maybe can we move on to June next?
This is Jun from WuXi XDC, and we are actually building the first DC facility in Singapore. I think, Anna will be the second one, so that's why we sit together.
Who's the
This is
first
the
one?
ADC coach so far. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's very, I'm happy to be invited to share my experience here and also my thoughts. So, in terms of the future of the pharmaceuticals, I think that when we see back to the 100 or over 100 years of the pharmaceutical or the medicines development, I think currently, thanks to the technology innovations, we actually have more and more very complex drugs into the clinical and also so the speed of the drug innovations is actually become the one of the key point. And also for example, for the original like small molecule and then biologics, and now a lot of the bioconjugate as well as combinations of different drugs, right? It makes that the discovery and also development and the process and even the manufacturing process more and more complex. And so we need to have our systematic system, ecosystem, including all of the global supply chains, as well as like us, technology platforms, and also our biotechs and the biopharmas to work together, and then to move all of those the complex completed drugs to the market, and to of course eventually to benefit our patients, global bio. And of course we need the policy as well as the government support on to how to drive all of those drugs to the market. So I think in one word, there's more and more complex, and we need to have our very systematic approach to accelerate the drug to the market. Yeah.
Thank you so much. You're sitting so far. It's because ADC is too potent, is it?
Yeah. Probably, yeah, exactly. So actually, I'm the third to answer this question, and so far we haven't talked about digital and AI, which I think is super good because it's actually a tool, it's an enabler, and there's a lot it can do to the industry, but I think there are a lot of other involvements that are kind of really relevant that you have highlighted as well. If we stay high level, I would say it's really devices and the home care setting, especially also the involvement in device constituent parts and how this is merging into the pharmaceutical industry, the manufacturing of it, the quality system, and obviously also the upskilling we need to do from a workforce in that space, and how it will shape our layout of facilities, manufacturing, release, and obviously also how we as an industry are interacting with the patient. Later on, I have a few other examples, but I think we stay with more high level for the moment.
So people stay here. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Shanshan, for your questions. And hello, everyone. My name is Ling. I think it's as our company, unlike all the other panelists, our company is pretty young. So I guess I stand for the voice from the innovation side. Just now, Georg mentioned about the artificial intelligence. This is really what we envisage, the very unique innovations in terms of the whole history of the pharmaceutical development. And as our company is also just putting into a lot of efforts into the artificial intelligence, I think this is really can bring a lot of new insights into the well-established pharmaceutical industry, from the beginning discovery to manufacturing and manufacturing translations, and then in the end to how do you communicate with doctors in the end to the markets. So I would say this with the time ongoing, and this actually there's a lot of booming of the AI models I will also mention later on, that has already kind of a lot of endeavors in every segments in the pharmaceutical industries. So I think this really can bring new things on the table. And then just Anna mentioned that making the drugs and innovation from the beginning to the patient faster. We are no longer need to rely on 6 to 10 years of the development. That's really really looking forward to that kind of development for my perspectives.
Yeah, thank you so much. But so many ideas been talked here, right? And so many digitalizations. I'm sure you heard about all those from your suppliers, service providers, right? But Georg, if you need to make that decision strategically, and which innovation you want to fund, do you have any criteria how you relate that to the patient or how you relate to the business?
Yeah, I think many of us are for sure familiar with the innovation funnel of idea, iteration, proof of concept, pilot, then extracting the value, sustain, and scale. That's, I think, when we do a lot in ISPE. I think I also gave a talk 2 years ago in Amsterdam about how to go about this as a bigger company. But at the end of the day, I think what is very important to see is that currently, clearly, we have a bit of over-reliance on technologies. We talk a lot technologies, and it's really having the technology in place is the one thing, but how you use it and how you control it. And we have heard also before Annex 22, for example, for AI, Annex 11 as one example to regulate a big space of future technologies is really with us as an industry, and this is also the hard part. But for me, it's really, you know, what does the patient want? The patient wants quality and efficacy, and access. And that translates in manufacturing actually to robustness, yeah, and a cost dimension. And I think what really we see more and more is that those things are not contradicting anymore. And that makes it super exciting also to be in quality, actually to shape the way how this can look like, and using also then technologies that can enable this. And this is, I think, the thinking that we apply in Roche, yeah, so that we're not playing around with cool toys and so on, but that we look very early on what is the scalability and what is really the in-use adoption, and what it's in for an operator, but what is also in on the dimensions of cost and robustness.
Yeah, very good points. And not innovation for the sake of innovation only. Yeah, that need to serve the purpose and that need to serve the patients. And talking about patients, and Ling, just imagine you need to pitch your idea, your innovation, your molecule to a patient. How would you pitch it to the patient? How would your product or services or innovation impact their treatment journey?
Thanks for the question. Actually, I couldn't agree more with Goris mentioned about we're not doing the innovation for the sake of innovation. In the end, have to benefit to the patients. So I would say, or thinking these questions in maybe 3 dimensions is short term, mid term, and long term. How our innovation can serve the patient better. So the first for the short term is that within our company we already have. We actually apply the AI in the manufacturing domain, and we have launched a product which is from our virtual cell platform, and then we already kind of produce a small molecule drugs that apply in the T cell therapy. So these drugs can actually kind of correct the T cell expansions. So directly to the patient is some of the patients, we're talking about access, some of the patients, especially for cancer patient, they are pretty weak in terms of their immune system. So they can't even grow their T cells to receive the CAR T therapy. So basically the innovation we provide here is this small molecule adding into the T cell expansion system can let those weak donors T cells expand as good as healthy donors. So in this case, those patients previously cannot receive this disruptive medicine CAR T therapy. Right now they are able to access to that. For that part, I think it's very beneficial for the patients, especially for those one cannot really receive beforehand. This is short term. In the midterm, is we are aiming for the next product line is for the general biologics manufacturing, vaccines, antibodies. So overall, wanted to achieve the goal is to lower the cost of producing those antibodies. So that's another benefit to the patient. Say you are more affordable, basically. That's the general idea. In the long term, we can actually move up the chains to make the discovery and the clinical trials even faster. Applying for the virtual cell concept, basically this is a digital twin kind of version for the cell part, but we can actually modify it to like a digital twin for the patient side. So maybe in one day, this is very long term, I would say, that we don't possibly need to do clinical trial in the end. But semi kind of a collaboration, we can simulate the clinical trial results first, so to get an idea how these drugs will perform in the patients. So I would say this in the end, the three-dimensional mentioned about how our innovation can benefit to the patients.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the transforming from in vivo to in silico. And that's actually happening in the industry and for some other studies. I don't know other panelists if you have anything to add to those points.
I think in the same way we talk about, okay, not innovation for the sake of innovation. I think we need to be careful about how we use the word fast, speed, fast track.
Yeah.
And I think this is a core challenge that we all have. Basically, how can we make it safe, compliant, but faster?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's where artificial intelligence or data and etc. play an important role in how we basically use it, and we have to be use it with a high sense of integrity, yeah, and ethically, morally, and basically responsibility. So I think that's for me the point, to really understand how I don't know, predictive analytics works. Basically, can we narrow down the number of molecules that we need to investigate based on that predictability? Digital twins data, can we simulate a process? Yeah, so we can make it faster later on. We have in AstraZeneca an example where the manufacturing process development was shortened by 1 year by doing a digital twins. I was recently having a conversation with somebody about basically using artificial intelligence to do a risk assessment. Yeah, so to be honest, this is something very, how much time we spend in risk assessment, and they're always biased, by the way, yeah. So I think we need to be sure that it's not speed for the sake of speed, not innovation for the sake of innovation. There is always a patient at the end of basically us that is waiting for us to deliver that medicine, as Georg mentioned, that works, basically is effective, yeah, and I have to say, still make it in an affordable way.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, so I think Ling just mentioned a lot of CAR-T or the new modalities, right? And nowadays we're surrounded with the new molecules, a new word, and CAR-T is no longer a new thing, right? Everyone and it was back in 2016 when we were Novartis and we had camera, yeah. So it's very, very difficult to keep track of all these new modalities or things, and some of them dying really fast as well. So that's why I will need to have my one-on-one with Pei-Ching from time to time, and he will update me with all the new modalities and new therapies. Just with all these new products coming to the light, and just Jun, maybe this question addressed to you, how a CRDMO type of organization enable the global clients to accelerate the development and commercialization of all these new modalities?
Yeah, thanks for the question. So, you know, in terms of new modality, of course, we are XDC. We are, you know, providing a service for the ADC and other XDCs, you know, to our partners. It's one of the those new modality. But I just want to, you know, stress address that. You know, even in XDC, we are still have many new modalities within the XDC field. For example, you know, AOC, right? And even for the ADC, we are currently seeing more and more like bispecific ADCs, multi-specific ADCs, or you know, dual payload ADCs or multi-payload ADCs, right? And in the like 5 years ago, it is I think that those cannot be, you know, a trend, but now it's more and more, you know, complex as just mentioned. So in terms of the how to accelerate or how to enable our partners, I can, you know, agree more with Anna. You know, for a drug, you know, development is also a balance of the, you know, quality timeline and also cost, as just discussed here. Quality cannot be, sacrificed at all, right? And it is because it is directly to impact the patients. But how to, during the different stage, in the clinical trial, how to, to accelerate the timeline, but with also to consider about the cost down, even especially during the commercial manufacturing stage. That would be the key points that for every biotech and biopharma, right? So as a CRDMO, we actually take a lot of approaches and then to to help our partners to achieve that. So I would like to say maybe 3 points. The first one is the technology innovations, and then to some of our clients maybe want to develop some of the new ADCs, but still have some shortage of the knowledge on the like novel payload or linker or the conjugation. We also provide those kind of novel technologies to these clients to accelerate that. And the second one is how to because we trying to integrate all of the service together in terms of the early discovery and the development, and also the clinical manufacturing and later on the commercial manufacturing. And in terms of the modality, we actually to incorporate all of those like small molecule payload linker, large molecule, the mAb intermediate, and also ADC, DS, and DP together, into our platform, and even in one facility, right, in one site. So that's actually take in terms of the integration to support our clients, as well as how to we can limit it, the efforts of the shipping, right, and also the safety concerns of all components together. So that's why we can accelerate the timeline and also support our clients. The third one is actually the quality. When you got the more and more complex components and the combinations of different together, it is very difficult to have a harmonized quality system, even within one biopharma. But we can provide this kind of integrated service, and we can combine all of those quality system together. And of course, and then to also to benefit, from the different specialists in terms of the different modalities and together. So that's why we can have a harmonized quality system to eventually benefit the client. So that's what we do in WuXi, XDC, and also other WuXi families. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Anything to add? Okay, so if you have nothing to add, I will come back to Anna, because you just mentioned the balance between fast track access to the market and then the safety quality side of things. Maybe can you add a little more on the regulatory approval to this?
Yeah, sure. I don't know. I think the complexity of the new therapies, basically, I'm pretty sure the any agency at the moment is basically, I don't know, basically, or another one that I need to deal with. Yeah. So, but first of all, I don't think we need to see the agencies or the health authorities as a bottleneck. I think we need to engage them as early as possible in the introduction of new therapies, new modalities. Yeah. I think there is an element of learning together, yeah, that we need to do. And I think at the end of the day, the companies, pharma, or the agencies, they have the same goal and the same ownership in just making medicines for patients. Yeah. So in that sense, I think it has to be done. The other one is you may engage a local authority because your site, your plant, your headquarters, whatever, are in that region. And I think that's not impactful enough. I think what we need to do is to talk to multi-agencies at the same time, because if not, then you get the interpretation of GMP according to each agency can be different. And then you get working for the Chinese FDA, working for the FDA, working for HSA with different things. So I think for me, the point is working together with the agencies, be sure that we have a multi-agency approach that globally can have an impact. Working on a country level, that's not sufficient to get all the drugs and modalities approved worldwide, yeah? And the other one is the ownership and create a fully transparent partnership with them, yeah.
Absolutely. So just on the regulatory things already here already, you think the current system works for the new modalities and new technologies, or we will need to have new framework?
I don't know if I would call it framework, but I think we need to be open-minded to what is coming. Yeah, and what we may have available at the moment cannot be applicable for something new. And I think we have the best example of the COVID vaccine, that basically the authorities at the end of the day, they granted to the vaccines accelerated approval without having clinical trials, without having anything. And I think basically, I don't think we need another COVID, by the way. But what I mean is basically the way of working and the mindset has to be shifted to the understanding of artificial intelligence, the understanding of data, being able to have a science-based conversation before having a compliance-based conversation. Yeah, and I think for me, that's where industry and agencies, they need to basically feedback each other and basically educate each other in that sense. Yeah.
Absolutely. Georg, definitely on this topic.
Yeah, probably to give it a little bit a different spin. So I'm not so concerned about the new modalities. I'm more concerned about the essential medicines. Because in the new modalities, there's the pace, there's the excitement, the talent wants to go, there's also the money. But none of us wants to live in a world without narcotics, painkillers, opioids, or antibiotics. And so thinking of that, and specifically now when it comes to onshoring of manufacturing in the US, in Europe, for example, and also in some other countries, I'm a bit concerned on what you said with the compliance. Are we really pragmatic enough to bring all of those methods and all those analytical testing and manufacturing back in a way that, you know, we're not overshooting and still, you know, are able to use also newer technologies in this essential medicine space, where obviously the funding and everything will be much more difficult, right? And I think many companies do have a certain responsibility there. And I give you just one example. I think, you know, we talk a lot about we need to be more harmonized and health authorities need to harmonize more and so on. But there's a really good example currently where this is happening, and this is Annex 1. And I know many here in the room, many also suppliers and machine manufacturers and component SUD suppliers. It's a big topic. And, you know, I think what we have seen with COVID and also before, this industry together, we can do almost anything. But what we cannot have is a moving target. Yeah, and when you look at the enforcement of Annex 1 globally from multiple health authorities today, considering Annex 1 also current GMP, which means it applies also outside of Europe, is really great. It's challenging, it's demanding. The enforcement, I think, came faster than we thought. So in this sense, you know, we need to be prepared also for other revisions to be really enforced faster in the industry. But we know where to head to, and the inspection approach and the interpretation of the regulation is very consistent. And I think that's, for me, also an element of innovation beyond technologies. And a good example, I think we all should take away of how we want to see this, and how I think we can also then, as an industry, can accommodate and make that happen much faster.
Absolutely. That's a great point. Not just the new modalities, we'll need to put our attention on all the existing modalities and still. So if I'm following that thought, talking about doesn't matter what modality that is, traditional, new modality, we all need a manufacturing facility to deal with it. So how our manufacturing facility, how building a manufacturing facility can help with expediting the access to the market and can make the medicines more accessible, maybe with better quality. Maybe Dr. Hu, you want to take this one?
Yeah, I suppose the question is to me. Yeah, thanks. And you know, we are in the WuXi Biologics as well as WuXi XDC. We are actually building different, you know, expanding our facilities all over the world now. And for WuXi XDC, Singapore is actually definitely one of the you know, cornerstone for our dual sourcing strategy. And for a facility itself, we need to match, as I just mentioned, that the biologics as well as the new modalities actually come to the under in terms of the procedure. And also the scale, it really depends on different project and different the client. So how to make it very flexible, it's always the things that we think and we focus on in WuXi biologics. And of course, single-use technology is one of the the important tools that here. And in WuXi biologics, we do not use stainless tank bioreactors. We all use a single use and make it quite flexible, for us to match the client's request. So what I'm going to focus is, to say that we need to see beyond, not just about the current status. And many of our clients ask why we can gain the trend of the ADC boom, But when you see back, and we actually founded the new venture WuXi XTC, and the venture actually back to 2021 during COVID. And then the ADC boom is actually from 2022 and 2023, right? And so before, what we as our CRDM to say is that we can see the trend and then prepare all of the facilities and the capabilities, and the capacities beforehand. In terms of the manufacturing, of course, we need to make it very fast to build, and also we have a systematic approach to expand the manufacturing using the original talent, by expansion to the new site, and of course to try to incorporate all of those mindset in the existing facilities. And then, of course, to take advantage of the new site and talents as well to build a new one. And this kind of training system is one of the key that we can build the facility, quite faster, even in different sites in China and also, in Singapore, in other world. And this, and then to make sure that the system is harmonized, as I just mentioned, the system, the execution should be harmonized. Otherwise, it cannot to match our WuXi speed in terms of the project execution. And so those kind of approaches systematically in our WuXi biologics network will be beneficial, for us to construct a new site here. And we are trying our best and then to meet all of those, aggressive timeline. Just to take our WuXi XTC Singapore site as an example, I will share that, in the afternoon sessions. And we actually, from the groundbreaking, and it's actually last March, and then we actually completed the mechanical completion by the end of this June. So it's in total is around like 15 or 16 months, and then we completed the construction of the two facilities. And those kind of approaches is innovative, and also thanks to the execution, perfect execution of our team and also our partners. And then this is definitely to meet the requirement and the market demand from our global partners. And the acceleration of the project execution itself, as well as how to build this kind of new facilities, is also the top priorities for our company. Yeah.
Thank you. So later, the other first ADC facilities, we will, maybe next year we'll have some sharing from your project on the execution part.
Oh, I can share now, actually.
Oh,
No
brilliant,
worries. Yeah. I think we did the groundbreaking too early. Yeah, that means that we will do another groundbreaking now, the real groundbreaking with the piling starting in October. Yeah, and the site is supposed to be in operations by the end of 2028. Yeah, we are also going to adopt some of the WuXi practices, like the modules, what we call it. Yeah. So, and basically it's an end-to-end facility. And we are very proud to have the first end-to-end facility in Singapore. So we're going to have the made in Singapore stamp in the final packing. Yeah. And it's going to be basically 5 different technologies in one campus. So no, we're building these 5 technologies all together. Yeah, API, the payload, the drug linker, the monoclonal antibody, fill and finish, yeah, and final packing and then distribution. So no, it's a huge project. Yeah,
Nice.
it's huge. Yeah.
Very much looking forward to it.
Yeah. As I said, we
We're
did.
Singapore for global, right?
Yes, finally. Yeah. And Singapore for Singapore too. Yeah,
Okay.
that's another one.
Great stuff. Thank you so much. So just talking about the manufacturing, right? There's one comment from Ima this morning. She said, nowadays there's no conference you can get away from talking about AI. So just back to Ling, the AI technologies and how you see the AI is adopted in the pharmaceutical manufacturing doesn't really it's not just for the new modalities, for the traditional one as well.
Yeah. So this is a kind of an interesting perspective. So you mentioned that every conference cannot avoid the AI, but from AI side, I think we cannot avoid the communication with everyone actually over here. So we are constantly learning. So for AI is basically just a technology, just a tool. So the purpose of using it is to enable efficiency or the also make sure the risk control as well. So, I think in the AI world, we're still learning how to integrate the models into particular manufacturing, so to speak. So, when I was in the pharma, we trying to think about a new way to do the AI for drug discovery or a drug AI for medicines. So, my co-founder will have a afternoon sessions to talk about what's the our initiatives in this part, which I think is something new that's cannot be done before. So we are actually designing like a cellular drug concept. I mean, before this is cellular drug, it's particular design drug for cell. For example, CHO cells or 293 T cells to manufacturing things. Way before the AI model coming up, this approach seems to be unrealizable because you just need to hire so many teams, scientists to design small molecule drugs only for cell, which is kind of a costly. But in the AI model right now, because everything can be streamlined and then just need to build a model and then design that things will be efficacious and also complying with the regulations. We also do like off-target prediction, so make sure that molecular design is safe and also can boost the manufacturing efficiency. So back to before, this cannot be done, but with the AI right now, this can be done. So this is something new we foresee can bring on the table. But of course, a lot of people are talking about agentic AI. Also, Anna mentioned about using the model to assist the risk assessments. So I think there's a lot of things were happening. Also, yesterday night, we are discussing with the data scientific part from Genentech. They are using process development modeling that's long existed in here in the manufacturing world. But then in the AI models, actually you can bring new things from the biologics perspective to see when you change in the process, how these cells changing in terms of biologic perspective. So that can also add up the value to be here. There's also other things about cross different geographic regulations. How do we homogenize? Of course, if collaboration in different regulations is very important, but AI can help you to search those domains documents very easily and robustly to see how to comply, how to shortlist the vendor that you acquire or supply to manufacturing your substance and then comply with particular regions of regulations. This is also a part that we can play a role in. So I think this is the vision I have seen how this AI model can integrate into manufacturing. The real case is to enable the manufacturers, not to replace. This is the key measures I wanted to mention.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think, Georg, you have something to add.
Yeah, so we do also really a lot already with AI and large language models as well. And a colleague of mine tomorrow, Daniele and Yiming, 2 colleagues, they will present on how we actually use it in our technical operations in more detail. So there are many, many examples. I think there are a few guiding principles where also from a quality perspective, we're very interested. On the one hand is when we talk about testing, where can we use it to reduce testing, so to not need to test anymore? test at the right time. So probably, you know, getting guided when to test for cell harvest, these kind of things. Or where do we have also opportunity to do this type of testing real time? So only if those three things come together, and whatever the technology is, and obviously a lot is related now to certain logics and process understanding and AI usage. If these three things come together, then we are very, very excited about, and we really also push the boundaries in regards to what we can do from a quality perspective. I want to also, you know, as you said, ISPE board, I want to highlight we have a AI validation guide out since 3 weeks, I think, as one of the first associations having worked on that extensively. We in Roche, actually, we went live 3 weeks ago with a full QMS internally for AI validation and usage. And I think it's a really, really good source to then come together early on with, and we have that in any project. We have data architects, data scientists, digital translators, and so on together, and follow those principles for whatever the use cases are. Just to not, you know, go too much into the technology space, but stay a little bit more technical. I just talked with Dr. Chua also in the break, and we want to, you know, again emphasize that, you know, with the chapter 4, that's, I think, really giving guidance on how to handle data, and that's really the foundation for anything, especially also thinking of my previous role in global engineering, how to already, you know, bring your automation systems and, you know, the data flows in a site in place, ideally from scratch, is, of course, at this point of time, fantastic. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So I saw some questions coming in through the app. Maybe we take a moment to address the questions we received, right? So I'll just read it from the sequence I see here. The first one, where do you see AI currently helping to co-pilot or facilitate processes in your organization? What should we do more in terms of AI adoption? Any panelists wants to take this one?
Yeah, I can.
Please, thank you.
Yeah, I think education is fundamental in that part. Yeah, basically, there is a younger generation that probably be more familiar with data and artificial intelligence than another generation that has the knowledge of the process.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to be sure that the process is not forgotten because the artificial intelligence and the data come from the process.
Yeah.
So to be sure that there is education both ways. Yeah, the people who really understand the process in and out. Yeah, without the data, of course, but without this artificial intelligence comes on the top, and then later on, data scientists that they know how to model data. Yeah, so basically bringing these two together. The other one part that is very important is don't forget about the infrastructure that is needed to have all in place, to have the model, to have the data, to have the servers, and etc. So that requires investment. Yeah, the integration of data at the moment, many companies we still have standing alone equipment. Yeah, that generate data independently. So that has to be all integrated to really have something meaningful. So I think investment in infrastructure is, I think, is still important for the early adoption of artificial intelligence or more adoption of internet.
Yeah, that's a great point. And you just raised a great point. I also wanted to ask this question to all the panelists. And so the knowledge of process and knowledge of AI, right? And for the future workforce, what kind of a talents we need?
Yeah, maybe I can add more here. So I actually, agree with Ling's point that the AI is actually not to replace the manufacturing or other, but to enable that, right? So, and as the first question about the DeepSeek or AI thing, is kind of I think personally I think they have two benefits for the AIs to us. The first one is accelerate the learning pace, the learning curve of every talent employee in our company. So as you just mentioned, what is potential talents we require? So I think the quick learning and how to embrace the new challenges, and and will be one of the key point that we hire new staff, especially the young generations. The knowledge itself is just take my 9-year-old daughter as example. She asked me a very naive questions, and then I don't know the answer. He asked me, "Oh, you can search on the DeepSeek," and totally, and I got an answer very very quickly. So that experience let me know that the young generation can gain the information, wherever it is right or wrong, but gain the information very very quick from these new technologies. But we need to let them know that which is the right one, which is the correct one, and how to take advantage of those new technology to benefit in organization. And this kind of quick learning and then feasibility and how to fit in the new organization will be the key points, and how to hire new employees. And the second one is that how to utilize all this language and also the information to benefit or accelerate the innovations here. So that's, we need some expertise, right? And then in terms of the research drug, and then they need to I think to combine the original like AI specialize the expertise and some specific area of the, and then together, and then to give some synergy. I think my colleague here, Shen Kai, our CDO in WuXi Biotechnology, will also give a presentation tomorrow, and to introduce what is the current practice in WuXi XC, to accelerate this, and then to enable all of our global partners. Yeah.
Thank you.
So what I feel a little bit is, either you're in a job where AI will do your job sooner or later, and if you're not, then you will work even more and more in teams. But these individual contributor roles that are not working in teams are, I think, really the ones we need to also discuss, and how to upskill colleagues. And having said that, what I want to say with the team part is, we need to think more about what are the skills of teams, and how to complement those. So as I said, for example, in Roche, we don't have so every project runs today, no matter what it is, with a data scientist, with a data architect, a digital translator, and so on. They are additions to the team that continues to exist, which are the colleagues that have the operational experience, the operational knowledge, and also the context. And so the question is, where to upskill, and where to also strategically hire from other industries. Obviously, a lot of data scientists and so on. For example, we have colleagues from Formula One, from other areas, and so on. They can easily be, integrated into functioning teams of a pharmaceutical biomanufacturing organization. But then there's the part of what we all in the operational side need to upskill. And that's really about saying the first day is the hardest to use AI, and then it only gets better. And we do a lot of work there to say, okay, everyday AI, where we can use this, and how we can upskill our organization. But I don't see now that we need a total different skill set. It's more how we create an environment, also together with our suppliers, also with a lot of the companies that actually have a booth out there, how we create those teams where we have those additional capabilities added.
Yeah. Thank you. You recently hired quite a, yeah.
Yeah, so because we actually panelists is mentioning about to understand different generations' perspective for understanding how data works, how the algorithm works. This is absolutely the skill sets that we need to master in the future. But for us, from this part, already understand this part, and looking for the difficulty is we still need to understand more about the fundamentals actually. So you have a lot of algorithms, and you have a lot of knowledge about the computer science, but fundamentally, if you don't understand biology, or you don't understand the whole logics behind, then your model is become useless actually in the end. So I turn constantly to discussed with my CTO who is building our AI. He was also from AstraZeneca before for the AI for drug discovery. And we are building some models, and then he will always to proposing, oh, this cannot be done because the data is not there. But then I will say, but I mean, the knowledge is here. It's very obviously. You don't really need the data. You just need the background knowledge about how gene networks is connected to each other. You don't have to curate it like 100,000 or million data to solve this problem. You just need the hundreds data points. With the background knowledge, you can solve it. So from this part, I think the fundamentals, understanding, deep thinking, is really the part in the future we need to think about, especially combining with AI science. And so speaking of this, the real talents that we are looking for is always the mind with integrated science minds, who can understand life science, understand manufacture, and also understand how AI algorithm works. And this is the part we pretty think is be very useful in the future.
Is that your recruitment advertisement here? We'll need to charge you for that platform fee. So we've got this question from the live Q&A session. So it's actually following up to what we just said. We said it can't be just innovation for the sake of innovation. But the question is, there are so many of the solutions claiming they're helpful, but doesn't really bring the ROI, return of investment. So how do we filter them out? Yeah.
So that was actually my previous job as head of technology, global technology and MSAT, where we did a lot on this. And I think I teased a little bit on it. For example, if we find the reduced, the real time, and also the right time element, then it's already very appealing from a return of investment point of view. However, I think there are also certain things we just have to do without thinking of the return of investment at this point of time. So, and that's, you know, when we can get something faster, if we can, also insights faster, if we can expand also to share knowledge in a knowledge management setup much easier. It's very hard to calculate immediately the return of investment. For example, when I was global engineering head, I always said to my team, when we build a new facility, everything needs to be able to be connected, okay? Build the building so that everything can be connected and data can be received from there, even if it's the toilet flush, okay? Because sooner or later we will need it. We don't know yet, but we will need it. And if you think of data centers today, what they do with windows and how they look at where the sun is, and then they open the windows differently, and they get a lot of sustainability out of this because they need less refrigeration and you know, this is this kind of thinking, yeah, and it's hard to say, okay, what will be the return of investment immediately? But a certain maturity in the industry and the management is needed for that to really also push the boundaries. But the mushrooming is an issue. Also, we have to say this, for sure.
Thank you so much. I think I got the sign for the sake of time. If we continue this conversation, it will be on and on for the whole 2 days. So if I can ask, please, all the panelists, you can wrap up your thought in 2-3 words. It's difficult, I know, throw the hard ball at you.
No, it's just basically curiosity. Yeah, there is no data without curiosity. Yeah, so that's an element that is not a hard skill. Yeah, but I think the asking the why so many times, that's basically drive the data that you're going to need and where is this coming from and different elements. Yeah. And the other one is basically be open-minded. Yeah,
Absolutely.
try new things. Basically be an advocate for technology, be an advocate for advancements in things that now they're being done in a completely different way. Yeah, so not to shut the door. I think, and apologies, Georg. Yeah, I think GMP is the killer of innovation. Yeah, and I think as soon as we put compliance and GMP, the first answer is no, we cannot do that. Yeah, so to be honest, and that's what I mean, is thinking completely outside the box. Basically, forget it a little bit about the GMP, design something, and then put it the GMP on it. Yeah, because I think that's for me, as I said before, GMP is a killer of innovation. Yeah, that's my final words. Yeah.
Thank you, Jun.
Yeah, I'd like to take it quite short. Just innovation and integration. Those are two points I want to address to accelerate all of the drug discoveries and manufacturing here. Yeah.
Thank you. Georg, you want to counter offer?
On the GMP, no, I think I would say that's the great thing working in quality and to really find ways to do both because you need both, and there are ways. Yeah, sometimes it takes a bit longer for sure than in other industries. There might be also a good reason because we also talk often about the safety part. But the worst thing is you start supplying and then you cannot supply anymore because you're not reliable. And then we are more in a lean, in a continuous improvement discussion. So I think, yeah, so having really good talent that can bridge both is important. There are ways for sure. What I want to say is, and actually we agreed on one question that I can do some advertisement for ISPE.
Yes, please.
So I will give it further and then you come back to this. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Ling.
I will say for the just also reflecting to what Anna said, be more open-minded for the embracing the innovation, embrace the new technology. But from the other side, for innovator, embrace the existing knowledge, respect them, and then think about the GMP as well. How to comply with this? Don't say, "Oh, this is bullshit," but you have to respect. You
No,
have to.
all the regulators in the room. Sorry.
You have to respect that, and so then to facilitate your better innovations into the correct directions. Yeah.
Thank you. So let's come back to Georg. Let's finish the panel with ISPE advertisement.
Yeah, actually, what we agreed is you asked me. That's why I got
Okay,
prepared.
I
Is
see.
actually how is ISB contributing in this space, right?
Absolutely.
And I'm really excited. And actually, Mike Martin is not here now. I think the CEO, but we did a lot of work in the board to come up with our new strategic working plan in the next years. And it's all really about the innovation pace, the pace of innovation, and how to manage this in life sciences, regulators, suppliers, service providers, and the industry. And actually, we have in all the things you said. So we're saying, embracing curiosity and collaboration is the one thing. And I think that's what we really try to do this week here, today and tomorrow, curiosity and the collaboration piece. We touched on that when we said, okay, how we adapt to AI, what skills do we need, how we come together in teams. But I want to also highlight that outside of the conferences, we are providing quite an educational body of knowledge that is pretty up to date when it comes to many of the things we have touched on. Is it project delivery related elements? Is it Annex 1? Is it Annex 11? The conversations on AI. And then what you also, I think, already heard is that the chapters and communities of practices are a really good source for that. And looking into those, it's not only industry colleagues, it's a good balance, and we see more and more also colleagues joining with backgrounds that are not so common yet in the industry, and I think I'm very excited about this to see and to see how also the strategic vision moving forward for ISB pretty fits to the conversation we had here.
Thank you so much.